What is going on, guys? How are we doing today? Hope everybody is doing well. We have a show for you today. Today we have the winner for the Content Creator Games. And with me today, we have to my left, Arbiter. Next to her, we have Sam the Man right here. How you doing, Sam?
I'm good, man. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Next to him, we have our very own JR Star 3. Jay, how are you doing?
Doing swell, oh, like always, man.
Nice, nice. And well, above him from home, we have the one, the only Thule. Thule, how are you doing today, man?
I am living someone's dream every day, man.
Hey, whose dream is what we'd like to know? But
Someone. Some
uh,
kid in Africa wants to be me every day. I swear they do.
um, so before we get things kicking off and talking about the Clan Boss games and everything, or the Hydra games and everything, I'm gonna ask you guys each a question, and today we're gonna want to find out what your favorite candy is. So first, we're gonna throw it off to Jay. Jay, what is your favorite candy?
Damn, putting me on the spot like that because you know I like candy a lot. I'm a sweet tooth, kind of like Twisted Metal. But yeah, it's an old joke. I'd have to say it's a battle. Mm. I like Gushers because I like just my mouth being soaked, right? I don't like being like if you eat hard candies like maybe like Sour Patch or maybe like a Warhead, right? Like it's good, like they're hard, but then it's good afterwards. But then Sour Patch is good in the beginning, then it's bad after. It's so hard. There's so many. Um, I used to like Nerds a lot, like a lot. I would just eat them like if they were food, like just the whole thing. Oof. I'd have to say favorite candy. You know those straws? They're like sugary straws that you can kind of like like kind of like Twizzlers, but they have like sugar on top of them. You can kind of like suck them or bite them. I used to
Oh,
like those a lot.
it's got like the sugar in it. I know which ones you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, they have like different colored straws and everything like
yeah, yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
those are one of my. I'd have to say those are like top three. Like I would just eat them. Like instead of dinner, I just eat that. It was crazy. Yeah.
Okay, so you rather eat sugar for dinner than actual dinner.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm used to it. You know, growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, so I had to go to the gas station and eat food from there. So it's kind of like even though I'd still do that now, I still did it when I was younger, because I wasn't gonna eat rice and beans every single day. I was like, bro, I want to eat something different, right? So I would just go like eat something different like candy. And like I said, I had a sweet tooth, so no one controlled me eating that stuff. So I would just eat it all every day.
Okay, okay. Um, Julie, what about you? What's your favorite candy?
Gummy bears.
Gummy
Easily.
bears.
Oh, gummy bears are good.
Gummy
Yeah.
bears. Do you bounce everywhere with them?
Huh? What did
Okay.
you say? You're cutting out over there.
I'm sorry. Do you bounce? Did you ever watch Gummy Bears when you were younger?
No.
No, you don't know the song Gummy Bears bouncing up here and there and everywhere?
No.
Oh,
The show was pretty good.
makes me feel a little bit older now.
I
uh,
haven't watched that either.
wow. Okay. Now I feel really old. Um, Sam, what about you? What's your favorite candy?
I don't have a cool backstory with mine. Probably, I mean, I like most candies. I guess I had to pick one. Probably Starburst, maybe Starburst or Skittles, man. Pretty
Ooh,
Okay.
basic, but they're both super
those are
good.
pretty good.
Okay. Um, so for me, my number one weakness is Reese's. Uh, I
Oh.
can never have just one. And it's my love and addiction,
Just
it,
weak.
more addiction to it is more. My sister-in-law every year for Christmas gets me, those Christmas like 10-pound Reese ones. And the sad part is I can eat that whole thing in one sitting. Afterwards,
How
though,
does your stomach not hurt?
It's his favorite candy, but he doesn't even know the name of it.
um, yeah, Reese's peanut butter cups. I can't put those down. Like oh,
It's a Reese is, right? It's like Reese's, like his, like Reese, his.
okay.
It's it's not Reese's.
Strong opinion on that, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm still calling it Reese's.
It's a
um,
possessive object here, sir.
oh man. Fusion. That's coming up to an end here. Did you guys all go for it? Sam, did you do the fusion?
Did, yeah. I thought he was too unique to pass up one, so I got him on my main account.
Okay. What about you, Tuli?
I passed on him this time.
Really? Okay. Can I ask why?
What do I need him for?
I mean, he's got a pretty unique kit.
Yeah. Sure. For what content? I do 100 mil on Nightmare Auto, Hydra. I don't need more Hydra champions. I'll tell you that. So if he had a boost in his kit, I would have done him instantly. But he doesn't.
No,
only
but
thing that
he does have the
only thing
increased
that he
speed.
does on the team, yeah, sure. So does Salad. Salad's also does the same job and hits way harder.
Yeah.
The only thing that Bunny does is he keeps increased speed on your team. He doesn't hit that hard either. So I wasn't that impressed. I skipped him.
Okay.
If he had even a baby boost on him, like even a Deacon boost, he would have been insane. Absolutely insane. And nothing short.
Well, I mean, he does give himself an extra 100 speed.
That doesn't boost your team. That doesn't enable your team to do anything.
It makes your team go faster because he's keeping the increased speed up more often.
That
Taking
is
more
true.
turns, which gives baby
So
procs
does-
a turn meter.
That's what I'm saying. Though, like somebody like Salad already does it and does way more damage. Somebody like Kimmy can do it already.
Yeah, he
So
also
there's a lot
brings
of ways
increased
to-
accuracy.
Yeah, so does Kimmy. And she also brings decreased speed in a strip and block buffs and all kinds of things like that. So
Yeah, I mean,
like
but
I said,
you
I personally don't need him. Like he's not that strong. He doesn't hit that hard. He doesn't enable teams in any way that we haven't seen before. I skipped him, like flat out.
okay. All right.
Yeah, I think for an in-game account, he's not going to replace anybody on your squad, but
No.
I do think he's unique, and I think he's a cool champion.
For sure. I didn't say he wasn't, but I just skipped him because I don't need him.
I just think I'm never a fan of telling somebody to skip a fusion. So I just thought like
skip it either. I just said I skipped it.
yeah, no. I know.
I told everybody to do it because it's a good fusion, and then it started, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this fusion. I don't need him. Like I'm just skipping it."
I just thought I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna keep him. I'm gonna do it. I was really on the fence about it, but Jay, what about you? Did you go for the fusion? I think I caught part of your stream last night.
Yeah, not only did I finish the fusion a week early, I also went for the Path of the Egg event, and I got his 5-star blessing.
Kind of
A lot of people were sus. Yeah, people were like, "How did you get that?" By the way, luckily, manifesting and praying. Woke up one day and it was just there. So
Clan boss was so generous that day, huh?
yeah. But it was pretty intense. Lots of dragon, probably like 8 to 10,000 energy of dragon. Had to pull some shards, and had to buy some weird things, coins or whatever eggs stuff in the shop. So, but I was able to get him, and he's working pretty good. I'm liking him so far. Put him in a stun set. I've been using him against like top teams. I haven't tried against Taurus or Marishka, but I've tried him against Rhodoses, Candies, Necrits, everything. He's not a nuker, but he smacks, right? So like you can, and with over time, the longer the fight goes, which is not great like for plat pushing because you want quick fights, but let's just say like you're doing tag team or live arena, and if a fight goes long, he's gonna start hitting harder and harder because he's getting more speed with scaling with stuff. So I tried him out in stun, put him in Phantom Touch, so I can get rid of Rhodoses and stuff like that. And he's been working pretty good for me so far. I give him like a 8.5 out of 10. I don't think he's like insane OP champ, but since he he just gets to his AoEs faster and faster. It's pretty like underrated. You're like, dang, he starts pumping out some numbers. Like I was using him with Baron, it was interesting to kind of see that. I want to put him in instant gear because I think instinct would be the best because he gets speed and he gets penetration. So I want to try that out one day in the future, but for now I'm just using him in stun. And I'm gonna combine him with Mighty Uko and have like a double stun like AoE.
Okay. Okay. So
Arena
you've put some thought into this.
Yeah.
Nice.
Arena was the first place that I was actually surprised that a lot of people were starting to use them. Like Jay was saying, that you get a 500 speed champion. If they don't have the sustain, you're gonna win that fight. Like the amount of hits you're taking on them, like even with just Phantom Touch procs and just base damage with
Yeah.
a reasonable nuker. You know, if they're not ready to hold that out, you're gonna win that straight up. Like your nuker is gonna keep their nuker down reliably, and so now you just gotta kill the support. Bada boom, bada bing. You know, I was shocked at how well he actually was working in Arena for people. That's for sure.
So I did go for him. I completed him during CVC, and I did go for the 50,000 points for that. I promised myself, I was like, nope, I'm just gonna go down here and get the big soul stone, and then next thing I know, I was like, I'm close to mercy. I'm close to mercy, and pulled 100 void shards. So
Anything?
you'll have to find out tomorrow morning when the video comes out. No
100
spoilers.
void is close to mercy.
Well, I was like 50. I was like 130, 140.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, welcome everybody again. Educated Potato, how you doing, man? South Drunk God, welcome. Niku, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So now we're gonna get to the HYDRA challenge for the content creators. So this one we had Sam, who joined us. I think this is your first game that you joined us with.
My rookie debut.
Yeah, no, and actually this is the first time on the channel for him too. So welcome to that, and we hope we have you on a lot more. Hopefully every weekend.
Yeah, I'd love that.
So what did you coming into the games? What did you think? What did you think of it? How was it difficult for you? Was it challenging enough? Interesting?
I think it was all those things. It was definitely interesting and challenging. It kind of shows how much I relied on some of the OP champions, like a Krisk and a Duchess, stuff like that. It was cool. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you'll go over the rules, but I thought made me think outside the box. I tried actually lots of different runs, lots of different variations. Spent more time on it than I was planning to, but I was pretty happy with my result in the end. So I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
Nice. Tuli, what about you? I know you were talking a lot of smack, like 100 million million damage team. You got this in the bag.
All right. We did put up a pretty mean key, okay? But then I decided the team was kind of a little too OP, so we toned it down. And I just ran a solid auto team that people could do. So my key is actually not that impressive, but it's all champions that people will do with builds that you could reach, and I'm gonna do a video on it. So I figured that instead of seeing you guys watch my +4 salad go burr, I figured this would be a little more fun.
Okay.
I did put up like an 80 mil key, and I was like, maybe not.
Okay. So. Jay, I know you didn't join us on this, but did you think this was something you'd be able to do with your account?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think most players can. I mean, I've been showing already. Like, I went on Rockstar, I was doing her account takeover this week, and she was able to do normal easy. And I was like, why aren't we even trying for hard? Like, I've shown that you can use rares and epics in normal HYDRA. So if you have some Legos, especially with the gear that they're giving us for free now, like you should be able to do hard at least 2 keys, right? If you can't 1 key, easy too.
Well, we were doing brutal HYDRA, not hard.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, most players can do, if they can do that, which people make it seem like it's so insane, maybe back in the days when it was like not nerfed Hydra, yeah, I could definitely see. But honestly, like even brutal, I think you would probably have to use like pretty tanky sets, maybe like resilience, maybe like juicy sets to help out if you're having your great holes not really high up. But yeah, definitely I could do brutal easily. I the only problem I have trouble is because like I'm trying to like prioritize like tag team. 'Cause I'm still behind there, so like I'd have to destroy like builds and stuff. But I do brutal, yeah. I just if I had to use only epics and like one Lego, probably still could do it. The thing is, then I wouldn't probably be able to easily one key the rest like hard and normal. So, but yeah, I think most players can do it. They just have to put their main resources into it, right? When you have all these different champions and everyone's trying to build stuff that are not going to prioritize your count, you kind of throw resources into something that's not going to give you the biggest value right at that moment. So you kind of get like, oh well, now I got to wait for the next fusion or the next time to do these events and tournaments to get you back to where you want to be.
Okay. So for anybody who hasn't really followed up what we've been doing with this, it was the Slay the Hydra challenge that we must use 2 epics. Could be any epic you wanted, right? We didn't put a challenge on that because, for the most part, epics are, you can obtain them fairly easy, or I should say easier. You must use 2 fusion champions, right? So if you're doing fusions, you should be able to have these 2. And no void Legos that you could pull from shards. So Legos that you could use would have been like an Arbiter, because you can get her through the quests. You could have used Ramantu. You could have used Mithrala, Vizix. I did try playing out with Vizix for a while on my key, but I ended up swapping her out. But you couldn't be using 2 Hanoroks or Krisks or Cardiels. So, and then the last part was no Duchess. So she was a strict ban, not gonna happen. Which I found, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't think it was that difficult for me to. I thought in the beginning it was gonna be hard. Like, oh my god, no Duchess. Like, I've been leaning on her so hard for my Nightmare and my Brutal keys, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna find to replace her. But once I started playing around with it, I didn't think it was too difficult for me to replace her. What do you think, Sam?
Not the same thing. I definitely thought it was going to be tough just because she's really the only support I bring in. Then I brought in an epic to deal with the Head of Torment, and so that issue was solved, so I didn't need the Veils. And then I brought in, to spoil too much, I brought in Pytheon, who does kind of a similar job to Duchess as far as supporting, reviving, and block debuffs. Yeah, it wasn't near as difficult of a hurdle as I thought to not use Duchess.
Yeah.
That was not the part of the rules that made me struggle.
Okay. Welcome, Nick. Thank you for joining us, man. What about you, Thule? Did you find it difficult not having to use Duchess?
No, not at all. Spoiler alert, I also use Pytheon. Bum. So Duchess mainly, when you're looking at Hydra teams, is the block debuffs and revive.
Yeah.
So I mean, Pytheon does that. Plus he has a cleanse. So and he has a bunch of heals on the A1. He heals when he cleanses. So he can bring just as much sustain to your team as long as you can avoid getting one shot, kind of thing. So between him and like a leech in the team from Ugo, or other forms of healing, even lifesteal, especially in low hydras, a lot of people discredit that set. For instance, if you're gonna put your champions in offsets, you could just throw them in lifesteal. Like, there's nothing stopping you from putting your Royal Guard in lifesteal. Stuff like that will just keep them alive.
Yeah.
It depends. Assuming you can get similar stats in lifesteal, you know what I mean. But a lot of people, in the mid and getting into the late game and what still have quite a bit of it either on their faction war champions, or they've just farmed solid 6-star legendary pieces. You know what I mean? I can get my big into like 7k attack, 300 crit damage, and lifesteal. Like, I've gotten quite a bit of really good lifesteal over my account that I still hang
big
on
in a plus
to.
4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so he used to be my Nightmare campaign farmer, but that was just like spare lifesteal gear. And point being, like, if you're going to be using offsets, you can utilize a lot of those sets more, or like regen set, like if you can't get relentless or reflex, that's fine. There's a lot of other things you can use to leverage, and so that's where the Python came in. I didn't think Duchess was that hard to avoid using. A ton of people that I do take over so don't have Duchess that we have to work around. The other big thing that is tough with her is the Veil. Like the Veil and being able to mitigate Torment is huge for most people that run with Duchess, and that's the part that will mess up trying to run teams without Duchess.
Right.
So if you can come up with a consistent answer for that and not hinder your team too much, you tend to do pretty fine.
Yeah. So we did have Gessel Gaming who joined us for this game. Sam, the Raid Man. We had Grim, we had Thule, Educated Potato, and myself. I do think that this is probably one of the harder games that we've done. Although, actually, I don't know. The first game we did, the Clan Boss game, I think was probably the hardest. I don't know. What do you?
Sorry, that was the most restrictive. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes it the most difficult, especially in something like Clan Boss, because you have so many things you're trying to cover.
So, all right. So let's get into it. Let's see some of the teams and see what we have. So in 6th place, we have Grim Reaper, who did not submit anything because he's been too busy and too lazy. So,
boom.
2 thumbs way down, Grim. No, he's been really busy. I know I've talked to him a lot lately, and so I can't fault him for it.
What it is.
At the end of the exactly. We all as content creators do this for the community to give the community something to look forward to spark up ideas and stuff like that, build some teams that encourage people to attempt things in game. But yeah, so unfortunately Grim was not able to. He said he's going to work on something today and submit to me, but he is in 6th place no matter what he submits. After that we had Gestel Gaming, who again was not able to submit because he was at a wedding, so we'll give him a pass on that one. And in 4th place, we have myself. I really, really was worried about not being able to use Duchess, but that Python came in really clutch, and I ended up using Brogni as my 2 champions for fusions. Brogni just made it so if the not the Head of Decay, the Head of Decay, I wasn't losing as much of my max HP as I would ordinarily. I was able to build my champions a little more squishier. Right. I did bring in Michinaki, and I used him as my lead. And I don't know about you guys, but do you guys all have a Michinaki? Sam?
Dude, this was my actual first time using him. I got him from that Summon Rush event. And, this was kind of his debut for me.
Yeah. I don't know. Thule, do you have a Michinaki?
Yeah, I actually just built him this week to use with Supreme Galek, and insane combination. Insane.
Jay, what about you?
No, I only got 50 fragments. I wasn't able to get the other 50.
Oh, man. Well,
they didn't offer 50?
Well, they did the what was it, the 100 for, so if you got like 20 sacreds, you could have pulled them. But
yeah. Afterwards, did they sell fragments of it? I mean, that's what I was asking.
I'm sure they're gonna wait. They did, and you didn't buy them?
Yeah. It was $100.
Yeah, it's not like it was cheap. 50 frags is not cheap.
basically Plarium values their non-Legos, like non-void Legos, as 200, and they value their voids as 4+, which is crazy. That's a lot.
I mean, honestly, buying 50 fragments for $100 is cheaper than buying the sacreds that you need to get.
Exactly.
Because you need 10 sacreds
It's
for
true.
half of it. So you
That's
get 10
true.
sacreds for $100. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, no, I mean, I've just fallen in love with Michinaki, and I have mine built in a Relentless set, and between him and Inquisitor, keeping him in the lead, he kept that decreased defense up, the buff strip, the hex was out the whole time. Mischief was not a problem for me in this with this team. And this key for me was full auto, other than the fact that I had to click on the heads to make sure that once they were devoured, I would be able to get them out. I don't know why Plarium coded it this way, and I don't know if it's an issue for you guys, but when someone is swallowed, they don't target him. I don't know. Have you guys noticed that, Jay?
Yeah, that's why I usually kind of like, I have it in the background playing, but if I ever see something like that, I just click on the head.
Yeah. What about you, Sam?
I've noticed the same thing. So I typically just full auto or full. I mean, I'm a full manual, not full auto. Full manual all of my runs 3 times a week.
Ugh.
I feel like the AI doesn't make any sense with who they target.
Yeah. Thule, what about you? With the +4 Michelle.
They definitely target things based on how they would target them in the rest of the game, based on affinity and things of that nature. But them being consumed is not something that they check for. That's for sure. It's kind of annoying sometimes. Geo is another one that's like so agitating.
Oh my god.
Like that dude's a monkey on auto.
I stopped using him for that because of that. I was like, no, I need to like between my main and my ult account, it's like I need to try to get in my Hydra keys. I need to try to get in my clan boss keys and everything. And I'm just like, and trying to create content. And I don't know about you guys, but I got a list like 10 miles long for takeovers and stuff. And mostly it's for Hydra. And I'm like, I don't have the time to be able to like sit there and manual everything. So I started taking Geo out of my runs. But hey, Useless, thank you for joining us. Mike, thank you for joining us as well. Welcome to the stream, guys. But yeah, Lady Kimmy was my fastest. I think I had her at like 315 speed or something like that. High accuracy, really tanky. Brogni was basically in my arena build. And my Husk was in a taunting set, which helped me kind of control the head of Decay. But yeah, I'm happy. I mean, being in 4th, I'm not in last like Grim. So, but like I said, it was more about just building a team, and most of these, all of these champions were achievable to acquire some way or another. But so I'm gonna ask you guys thoughts on the team. If there was something you would have changed on it, we'll start with Sam. Would you have changed anything on it?
My goal was a 1 key. So, I mean, I feel like you got that. Full auto is impressive. So I think it's a cool team. I'm impressed. The difficulty I ran into the most, and I run into it on auto even more, is just keeping that the head of Decay provoked. And so the fact that you did it without like a dedicated provoker, I mean, Husk has got the chance on his A1. Taunting set is good. I'm impressed that was good enough, because I was even messing around with 2 provokers on my team trying to keep that thing provoked. So that was the biggest issue I had. So I thought this was cool that you didn't seem to have any issues with it, at least not with this team.
Yeah. Thule, what about you? Anything you would have changed?
Just I would have used somebody else besides Brogni. Basically, if you're built well, you shouldn't need him. He's not providing anything else that any of your other champions aren't already doing.
Are you sure? Look really
I think
closely.
It's Brimstone.
Look really closely.
5-star Brimstone isn't that good in Hydra.
I don't know. I that was
you only did 4 mil. Like you could have just ran a second Husk or another DPS.
He did 5 mil. He did 5 mil.
yeah, you could have ran a husk that did 9 or something, and you could have enabled your other DPS to do more also. Like, less time that they're consumed, the more time that they have to do damage.
That is true.
But you also have to have
Like,
2
oh,
fusion champions.
yeah, I know. I could have used Molly also as a provoker.
I thought about Molly too, but then Molly only brings.
If you can't keep your champions alive, though, you need a sustain in that slot, and
Yeah.
that's the big thing. So I mean, if you're trying to build easier builds, I guess you can use Brogdon here. And like you said, a 1 key is a 1 key.
Yeah.
But if I were to change anything, that's what you change for sure.
Okay. Okay. Jay, what about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, not much. You have everything that counters everything, the heads, all the right debuffs. I mean, Mizunaki makes it. It's pretty OP, you know. That's pretty much it. Unless like the affinities for like, you know, you could have got something able to use like a roll guard, but unfortunately like you have to provoke, so it's kind of, it does feels like 3 rolls in a way.
I should say that this was the rotation 1, which is what we have now, not rotation 6. So I had the Torment head, the Decay head, the Mischief head, and then Suffering is what I had it as a starting rotation. So it wasn't too bad for me. My basic thought about Brogni was I just need him with the shield to be able to survive the Head of Wrath. That was it. Because that I didn't have a solid decrease attack on here other than Michinaki, and I was like, if I take something and he wipes me, it's over. So, all right. Third place, we have Mr. Thule. Mr. Thule, you used Pythion, Lady Kimmy, Molly, Ugo, and 2 Royal Guards.
Yep.
Give us a little backstory on the team. Full auto, not full auto, manual?
Yeah, this was mostly auto. I just manualed right when people got consumed, so I didn't have to do a bunch of runs to silly fails. Yeah, this was pretty straightforward. I mean, Kimmy was a guarantee fairly while back. Molly was also a fusion a while back, but she is accessible to the token trader. So I definitely think that's one of the top champions that's worth picking up from the token trader for a lot of people, specifically for Hydra. What she does in Hydra is really, really solid, especially if you compare her with a Kimmy or a Necmo. She can single-handedly provoke that head, and she's your mischief tank. She has a backup revive. She has the passive that boosts turn meter. Super solid Hydra champion. I've been using her for basically ever since the rebalance happened, and I started getting into Nightmare Hydra. So I definitely wanted to use her, and then Pythion was just the easiest way to replace Duchess for sure. All these champions actually just have single target A1s. Kimmy's got the one AoE. Go's got the one AoE, and the 2 Royal Guards have the 2 AoEs. So we didn't have that many fears going on. Torment actually wasn't a problem whatsoever. Between the Ugo cleanse and the Pythion cleanse, one or the other would cover the fear almost every single time. I also used the Pythion resistance aura here. So one of my Royal Guards actually has 300 resistance. Molly has resistance. Ugo has resistance. Lady Kimmy has resistance. And Pythion has resistance. So if Mischief hits anybody, with the decreased accuracy, especially from Kimmy, he's not stealing anything. He's literally got one target that he can steal from. And then all of my champions also had increased accuracy, so even Royal Guards are putting some extra decreased speeds out there, decreased defenses when the decapitate heads come out, just a bunch of little extra damage on there. So yeah, this was mostly an auto key, and like I said, I just wanted to make a team that was more accessible. I did have because I could have pulled one of my Royal Guards out for basically anybody I wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did have Salad in there at one point, and he went pretty hard. And I was like, everyone's just gonna see +4 Salad and be like, okay, Tool, okay.
Yeah.
So we took Salad out, and we just threw another Royal Guard in there, and just showed a minimal provoke run as well, kind of thing here. So you can use a Husk in the same place as a Royal Guard here, stuff like that, and just show you can do it. You know what I mean? It's not as hard as some people think, and it's very accessible. So that was my plan with this, at least.
Did you hit rotation 6 or rotation 1?
This was for rotation 1.
Rotation 1. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, I'm going to throw it to you. Anything you see here that you would have changed? Any questions you have for Mr. Tooley?
I mean, I'm impressed. This is really good damage. I feel like the blessings help a ton. You got a lot of good blessings here. Yeah, you used 3 epics, the 2 fusion champions, and like you said, you kind of watered it down. So I think it's really cool. I guess it's no complaints, nothing to criticize. I think this is just a great team.
What kind of builds did you have on the Royal Guards? Were they Relentless, Savage?
One's in Reflex and one's in Relentless.
Okay. Jay, what about you? Anything you would have changed?
Like other than the Royal Guards, I think they hit weak against Decay, but there's a lot of spirits in rotation 1 from what I saw, so they're getting extra damage against Mischief and Suffering. Is Torment magic affinity in this rotation?
Torment, yes, I think so.
Okay, so yeah, they're the best picks. If you don't need to provoke, then they're like the best pick right now, because the only one you're gonna weak hit is Decay. So that's really good damage. Of course, the set's procking. Didn't get to see like the actual run to see if we got Relentless got like in like huge value or Reflex, but those are really good sets too. Yeah, Molly's underrated. Like people don't want to use her, I guess, or maybe they don't want to invest in her because she's not like a fast 1/3/3, like or 1 AOE reviver like a Python or Duchess. But her passive can go pretty nutty. Like even in Arena, you can actually still see her usage. Yeah, I mean they're pretty good. Like everyone's gonna use Ugo, right? It's a really good epic if you don't need the Rector Draft, if you need someone else to put decreased defense. Since we don't have anybody to put it, like we don't have a Mishinaki like in the previous one, right? You have to have that down, plus the block buffs. So just in case there's that 3% that happens, because we're getting decreased accuracy, it's still having that block buffs helps out even on auto. So yeah, it's a really good team.
Yeah. So I do have a question. Lady Kimmy, 6-star, why not Brimstone or a different
Because I was using your Fire Knight, and I wasn't going to change your blessing.
Okay, so she's in Fire Knight, that's why. Okay.
Yeah, she does have War Master though. And I think she's not, no, she was crit cap for a while, but she's not anymore. But she does have War Master, so she puts down a little bit of damage.
Okay.
Nothing crazy.
Okay. All right, so we got Thule as number 3. Now we've got 2 left. And the 2 left are Sam and Mr. Educated Potato. Sam, how do you think you did against Educated Potato?
I don't know. I was feeling pretty solid, but mine isn't much higher than this. So for me to beat him, he's got to be in between our few, and there's not a wide range. So we'll see. I mean, like Tool said, I mean, some people can do 80 million, which is do possible. So see. I mean, I'm hopefully optimistic. We'll call it that.
Okay. So all right, and runner up in second place we have Sam the Man.
I like it.
I do not look at any of these before they're, the day of. So literally today is the day that I look at everybody's, because I don't want, being the person that leads everything, feel like, I have an advantage or anything. But when I opened up and looked at this, I was like, okay, I am Brago. That was like the first thing that hit me. And I'm like, interesting. All right. I would have never, I've seen him as like a bruiser in Arena. I've seen him as a clan boss champion. I've seen him in carry in like Doom Towers, but I haven't really used him in HYDRA. So Sam, why don't you give us some backstory about the team, about the build, and how you came to using this one?
Yeah, so I tried out lots of different teams. I did try out a Molly, tried out Thrala in here. I'm trying to remember who else. I tried out Kantra, and I think maybe even a Skull Lord I tried out. So it was for me, the hard part was the fusions, right? Because the 2 epics on the right, I think, are just so easy to slot into any team.
Yep.
Theon, like we talked about earlier, is kind of a replacement for Duchess. 6 I use often on anyways, and obviously Mishinaki is pretty god tier for damage. So it's kind of that second fusion slot that was really messing me up. And I was just like looking through lists of past fusions, the ones that I do have, and he brings a lot. I thought his damage would be a little bit higher. I haven't built pretty well, so I was a little underwhelmed with the damage, but he brings a ton. He's a secondary provoker. He keeps increased defense up, which helps himself, Mishinaki, and Visix. He's a secondary decrease attacker to Mishinaki if his ever falls off. And then he just gives everyone that extra defense through his passive, not to mention keeping the increased defense buff up the whole time. I feel like he was actually sneakily good and added a lot to this team, kind of enabled it. This was the first key I had that went over 1 key. I figured, with how many efforts or how many tries I did, I said the first one that hits 1 key, that's it. That's our attempt. When we blasted well past 1 key with this, I was really happy with his results.
Nice.
I'm surprised you got 9.3 mil out of Visix. That's
Yeah,
okay.
that-
So the Brago pick, all right, like most people like are definitely gonna be like, wow, Brago here. And like I totally see where you're coming from. He brings a ton for Hydra and is again one of those champions that people sleep on heavily. But how did you get 9 mil out of a Visix?
Yeah, I know, right? Like,
even boosting one, she doesn't hit that hard. She has no debuffs like poisons, burns, anything like that. Like she's just doing raw damage.
Yeah. So she's got a 1-star. I don't know. It might be cut off on that
Brimstone, yeah.
screenshot. She's got a
Brimstone. Yeah.
1-star brimstone. That helps a little bit, but she's in the lead. Right, so I wanted Mishinaki in the lead, but then I couldn't keep the provoke up enough. So I put her in the lead with the Shamail boost. And on this rotation, we either got Torment 2 or 3 times. So she's just getting all those turns. She's got 2 AoEs. 2 out of every 3 turns, she's hitting AoE. I do think she's crit capped, or maybe she's at least 90% crit, so she's close. Yeah, it really is just she probably took twice as many turns as everyone else, and that's why she's just doing so much damage.
now,
Ray 3 is actually a nuke.
Oh yeah, she can slap.
Yeah.
It's just you just never see it in Hydra like that. Like that's some serious damage. Like to do double that of a Brago. Like you're saying, like you expect Brago to be a slapper. You know what I mean? You expect some good numbers out of him.
I honestly think they're probably built pretty similar.
Yeah.
That shows like the power of having Shamail boosting that lead.
Mhm.
I think their stats, if I were to look at them, would be very, very close. And they both got the 1-star brimstone. So I mean, it's really 2 AoEs, and then that boost from Shamail makes a massive difference.
yeah, I was your Michinaki. What's he built in?
Triple perception, maybe 2 perception and an offset or off piece.
Okay.
And not in relentless or reflex. This is the first time I built them out, so I didn't want to pull gear off anyone else. I just pulled basically perception gear that I had laying around.
Now,
Makes sense.
now knowing that what you know about him and what he's currently done in this key, are you gonna go back and rebuild him for Nightmare?
Probably so. I'll probably trying to think. I don't have amazing reflex gear. I do have some pretty good relentless gear, so I'll probably just pull my best relentless gear from the account. I'll put him in the lead next time. I don't have these limitations, and I've got better provokers and better team running around him. And I'm out in Nightmare. I haven't done a ton of Nightmare, so I think he might be a big part of my first foray into Nightmare Hydra.
Nice. So I'll throw it to Jay. Jay, would anything here you would change? Any questions you have?
No, it makes sense. The Iron Brago gives the Visix more damage, right? Because she's defense based. Mishinaki giving the Hex so she can splash even more since she has 2 AoEs. Inquisitor's giving her more turn meters so she can keep using those AoEs. Yeah, everything is standard, right? If you're not using like Husks or Royal Guards, you got to use Inquisitor. If you're not using a Record Wrath, you're using an Ugo, right? So like the 2 epics, you kind of see the same similar trends, but it is nice to see new fusions or new champions also being included into a Hydra team. So I like seeing the Iron Brago and the Visix because everyone's gonna, if they have a Python or Mishinaki, is gonna use it, right? They're just really strong. But yeah, I like it. I was surprised he didn't do as much. You would think at least 7 or 8 mil. 4 is a little too low, but other than that, like it's a really strong team. Like Iron Brago's passive, people don't realize like it can actually stack, especially since the 3 main nukers are all defense. So it's actually helping out having his passive. So I do like that.
Well, to be fair, Iron Brago, I mean, he's only got what his A3 is an AoE. Everything else is a single target. So
yeah, but he's strong affinity against the decay and neutral affinity against the other 2 heads as well.
A2 is a cannon, man.
Yeah,
That thing
it does hit
slaps.
super hard.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. One thing I did mess up is he had, I think, a blood shield, and so he was getting targeted by mischief, and I didn't have him built with enough resistance. I think he maybe had 180 or 200. So that was an oversight on my part because he'd lose a lot of turn meter. His buffs there too. I mean, maybe rebuild, get him to 6 million, but yeah, I was happy with his results, like you said, with that passive being so big, but a little underwhelmed with the damage for sure.
Who was your resist tank? Shamel?
Yeah, Shamail. And when
Okay.
he took it, it was fine. But then when something would happen, or I guess Brogny got that little self shield, he would take it.
Okay. Thule, you got any questions? Anything you would have changed here?
I definitely wouldn't have changed much. That's for sure. I like it. I like it a lot. I think this is one of those teams that's accessible. It uses champions that not everybody's using these days that they probably just have laying on their account. You know what I mean? How many people do you know that aren't using their Visix or their Brago?
Yeah.
Yeah. For instance, I think it's great. Well done. Well done, Sam.
Yeah, so I mean, the Michinaki, I think is just an MVP pick for myself. I kind of wish I can get a third one. I have two. I would love to have a third one. That way, I can just auto every key and walk away. The Visix. So I did try Visix, and I tried her in the lead, and it was hard for me with the current team that I was going in because I was like, I didn't have enough damage going out to support her. And I did use her on an account takeover I did for somebody else, and she was awesome as long as the what is it, the suffering, no, not the suffering head, the spearhead. Which one is that one again? The torment head. Yeah. As long as she was, as long as he was out, she was perfect. Speed boosting. But I'm surprised she did that much, honestly. Like, yeah, even with the 1-star brimstone, that's 9 million damage. That's half of what Michinaki did. But
that's firm. That's firm.
yeah. So last but not least, in first place, we have Mr. Educated Potato. Man. This is I mean, he's got the Uko. I know I caught a little bit of his stream when he was working on it. And he's like, "Oh, I really don't want to have to redo the masteries on my Uko." And I was like, "Potato, do you really want to be beaten by Thule? Do you really want to be beaten by Thule? Do you want Thule to beat you?" He's like, no. So he spent the extra gems and he redid the masteries. But
good for you, Potato. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. He spent more than I did doing this challenge. That's all I know.
Hey, Big Bad, welcome to the stream, man. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, I mean, this is a solid team. 72 million damage on Brutal, and I think he did it on. He was one of the first submissions to send it in, so he did it on rotation 6. So that I think that was probably a little bit more of a difficult rotation to start with because you have the Head of Wrath that is going to just destroy you. But I mean, I think the MVP again is Michinaki coming out and just destroying everything. He did mention to me, I asked him if this was full auto or manual. He did say he wanted to maximize the damage, so he went manual. So yeah. Thule, I'll throw it to you first. Any questions? Well, I don't know if he can answer them. He is here, but anything you would have changed about this?
No, I didn't change anything. This was very close to the same team that I was going to use. I didn't use Ukko, I think. I was going to use basically the same. The rest of it, though. Salad and Michinaki together is crazy. Salad, when you pop the heads, if you have even a decent build on him, he can hit for like 500k on an A1. So I mean, he A1s does between 500 and 2 million damage, and if you throw the hex out there too, he's splashing all that too, and that's really where you see Michinaki starting to go insane.
Yeah.
is when you can capitalize on that hex damage. So yeah, this is what I'm gonna be running on my new Nightmare team. I have 4 DPS slots with Supreme Galek, Michinagi, Mashaled, and whoever else I want, basically. So
Wow.
it's the combination's crazy.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So Uko, he says, isn't a provoke set.
Yeah, I figured. Provoke.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Uko and Provoke is so good. He locks it down really well, especially with the A2. He has double chance for the set.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Sam, any questions? Anything you would have changed here?
And maybe I feel like a noob. I cannot get provoke sets to work. Maybe I need better provoke sets, or I mean, I understand the logic of Uko because he gets, like you said, the double chance.
Well,
Got my Uko built in a sunset for arena, so I kind
Uko
of
was
want
in the
him to
lead
stay
though,
there.
so he's getting all the extra
Extra turn.
boost.
We
So
I'm
also
trying to
have
think of
Husky.
other like
You also have
UE
Husky.
A1 champions. I know Necmo is amazing in taunting, but I don't have Necmo.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
So the other thing is
surprised
he's
nobody
backing up with
used.
Husk, so.
What was that,
I think
Tuli?
if I had Necmo, I would have.
I was just saying he's just backing up with Husk as well, so it's not like the taunting set is doing
Yeah.
all the work.
It's true. That's true.
I am surprised nobody used Necmo. I really thought. I mean, I would have used them if I had them, but I didn't see anybody use a Necmo. Maybe I don't know. Tuli, do you have a Necmo?
I don't
No?
have one.
Potato, do you have a Necmo?
Sam said he didn't have one.
Yeah, I mean,
And
he does, no.
Potato
So
doesn't
no
have
one has a Necmo.
No one's got an Necmo. All right, sounds good.
All right. Yeah. Jay, anything you see here? Any changes? Any questions you might have?
The only thing I can think of, if we wanted to take like, I don't know how many runs was this tried on, but if you wanted to get like, I guess like the highest damage run, couldn't we have put like Mishinaki or Mashaled in the lead to get them to do more damage than having Uko and Provoke? But if the Provoke was a problem and we weren't getting consistent like Provokes or at least control on the Decay Head, maybe that's why Uko was there. Because Mashaled's +2. And like I could just imagine him just doing more damage overall. But I mean, it's a strong key already. I'm just saying like to improve it even more. Other than that, of course it's a really strong team.
So Uko's the only block buffs, so I think he needs the provokes from him and the block buffs from him. Maybe even I guess he's got decreased attack with Mishinaki, but the block buffs and the provoke, he just needs as many chances as he can.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, so overall, I think this is great. It brought a lot of. I did test myself with a lot of different champions, and when I was on people's accounts that I was doing work, and I'm like, they don't have the same roster I do, or most of the content creators out there. So it was kind of unique to see what other people were using, and I was like trying to figure out. I mean, I'd never used Michinagi in HYDRA until I did a takeover for somebody, and they were insistent on using him, and I was like, okay, all right, fine. And that's when I kind of fell in love with him. But I think overall, I'm happy with how this turned out. It brought a lot of unique champions that we would never have thought of. I mean, who would use a Vizix anywhere nowadays? I mean, for the longest time, she was just the worst void in the game until what's his name came in. And Sam using her and Iron Brago, I was like, I don't know. I think overall I'm kind of happy, and the outcome of the champions coming out of this was really good. I don't know. What do you think, Tuli?
I love it. All these competitions like this, especially the 3-man faction war and stuff like this, they add a little restriction, so you have to do something different than what you're doing, but we haven't restricted it beyond being your own. You know what I mean? And actually being doable. You can do this with a whole plethora of teams. There's not only one winning combination here. So I think that's great for these types of competitions. Unlike the first clan boss competition we did, like you had to have a double ally protect if you didn't have block damage, basically, if you wanted big numbers, and that was that. and so it just created less variety in it. And other than that, you were just DPS racing, and nobody really did a DPS race in our Clan Boss Challenge. So
Yeah.
highly like this type of challenge as opposed to that. And we're gonna learn as we do more of these as well, like what we should and what we shouldn't do on that end.
Yeah. Yeah. Do if anybody from the community does want to see something interesting for a challenge, do reach out to me on Discord. We all the content creators are in a Discord channel, and we all talk about it before we go into what we're gonna do. And I try to put this together and make it as fair as possible for everybody. And that's why we do it usually once a month, and we give ourselves like 2 weeks to kind of prepare. And as we're not in the content creator program like Jay, who can get those resources from Plarium, we got to take some time to recoup what we have. So if somebody from the community does have something, we're up for it. We like the challenge. I think it's fun for me. Sam, did you have fun doing this?
Yeah, I had a blast. I hit my head against the wall a few times when I kept struggling or I'd have a bad run. But in general, kind of like Tuli said, I thought it was a blast. I love that all of the requirements were you get more accessible for normal people, right? Which is why I went with login champions and fusion champions as much as I could. So instead of just being like, oh, we're going to handicap ourselves or handcuff ourselves to make it difficult, it's more about making it more accessible for normal people. If you guys have these 6 champions, or you know how to build similar champions, you can one key HYDRA, and I feel like that's just like a really cool message to show to the community.
Yeah. Big Bad, welcome to the stream. It's Mr. Siege. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us, guys. Actually, shout out to Big Bad. So for anybody who didn't know, I placed plat last week, and a lot of it was because of this guy and the countless hours he helped me get my teams ready. So I do plan on having him on soon to kind of talk a little more about that. And yeah, I think we've probably spent close to like 10 or 15 hours over like the last week just talking about my teams. Yeah. Yeah. So
A lot of corner cases to go over there.
Huh?
A lot of corner cases to go over there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, if anybody is looking for a clan that is placing in Plat Arena or needs help to try to advance your account there, feel free to join us. In the description below, you will find the Discord 2 pandas. Come in. We are a great community. We're helpful. And if you want to join the clan that is currently going up against Mad, we're right here. Jay, now I know you didn't join this, but overall, what was your sentiment about the competition?
Overall, it did allow us to see some champions that are not overly used, to see some of them, but it also shows that sometimes you have to go with what's best, right? A lot of Ishinakis, a lot of Inquisitor Shamiels, a lot of Ugos. But I wish Plarium would give us maybe a few more champions that are kind of similar to them, do something different, so we don't have to always use. Because sometimes people are like, "Hey, I can't do this content. What do I need? Who do I need? 6-star." And then you look through their account, and you're like, "You don't have this? Fuck!" And then you have to try to find like the best next thing. But other than that, I do like to see champions just like live arena or tag arena. When you see champions being used, you're like, "Wow, really? Why'd you build this champ?" Kind of like when I built Vlad. It's kind of like, why are you using this? So it's good to see new things and different tests. And that's the whole point of this game, right? Is be able to build stuff. If everyone built the same exact things and we just cookie cuttered everything, it'd be like, what's the point? We're just farming gear to do what, right? So yeah, it's definitely, and it's, what's good? You can also take this content and put it somewhere else, right? Like YouTube or somewhere else, and show people, hey, look, if you have these champions, you can actually do what I'm doing as well. And it kind of gives hope to, new players or like mid to late game who are trying to push HYDRA, and give them an opportunity to be like, I have those champs. I can build them for HYDRA, and they can progress their account faster. So.
Right. Yeah, I know that. I think it was something at like 5% of the community or 5% of the accounts are only able to hit Nightmare HYDRA. And this is my Nightmare team is kind of dumb. Honestly, I use
I'd be more interested in what percent of level 90 or higher players can hit Nightmare Hydra.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think that would be a much more useful metric because of the way that they have their the amount of new players they try to funnel into the system. Percents like that are just so
that
rough.
is
Like
true.
5% could be a massive part of our active player base.
That is true. That is true. But I do find it, look, taking a step back and looking at it, it's like, okay, if it's only 5%, granted it is an end game content, I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, that's really, really low. And I think it's only like 40% or 30%, somewhat like 30 to 40% is only hitting brutal. Uh, Almost everybody is still either on hard or easy, or normal, not easy, sorry. And I'm just like, this is kind of why I wanted us to do a Hydra challenge to kind of, boost it up a little bit, and show people that you can still do it. Granted, my sentiment is a lot of it has to do with gear over champions. I don't know. Sam, what do you think? Is it champion that you need to have to be able to do this, or is it, do you need to have the gear to be able to do this?
It's got to be both, right? I think it's definitely more gear intensive than it is champion intensive, which is part of what this challenge shows. But there's also, I mean, a certain level, like you can't do it with all rares. Probably can't really do it with all epics unless your gear is amazing. You're using all of the best epics. So, I mean, it definitely requires some champions. I don't think there's any one champion that unlocks it. Obviously, there's a few champions that make it easier. Tuhanarok's great, Mishinaki's great, Krisk, Duchess. There's lots of
Freesia.
them, but I think it's
Wait,
both for sure. But I would say more emphasis on gear than particular champions.
yeah, yeah. Tuli, what about you? What do you think? Gear or champions?
I'm bar none on the champions side on this one. If you have champions, the gear requirement becomes basically nothing. If you have a Krisk, if you have a Duchess, you can basically put in a paper Royal Guard with 220 speed and 220 crit damage. He's gonna one key Nightmare. That's insane. There's no other champions that you can put in at that low of gear requirement, at that high of content, and get that many rewards for. The normal clan bosses, I guess, similar with the unkillable teams, but a lot of the other, like the hard Doom Tower, barely any champions are going to do what you want, as well as Royal Guard is going to be a DPS and Hydra kind of thing. You're going to need way better gear than that. Sure, you may beat this boss or that boss, but do you auto it in 30 seconds? You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about, this is literally a build you could do Royal Guard auto Nightmare with if you had a Krisk. So I'm all in on the champion side on this one. You definitely need to have a certain amount of gear still. Like, building a mischief tank isn't easy whatsoever. You need 500 resistance and 375 accuracy on most of them for Nightmare. It's tough, and speed.
Yeah,
So
I was just gonna say, when you said that, it's I think Sam is right in the fact that it's kind of both, but I'm gonna lean more to the side of gear, just because there's not a lot of people that can build a 500 resist, or along with like 250 or 350 accuracy, with enough damage to be able to pump out the
that's not a
damage.
damage build. Mischief tanks don't do damage.
My On my team,
You didn't run a mischief tank that does
yes,
damage.
yes I did.
No, you didn't. You don't have a mischief tank.
Yes I did. Inquisitor Shamel.
Yeah, he's not a dedicated mischief tank. You can speed tune him to take the mischief hits more, but he is not a dedicated mischief
Yeah,
tank.
I didn't do speed tuning, but
Yeah,
he's built with
make
like
him
505
yeah.
resist.
Yes, he also is one of the only champions that counterattacks constantly and can proc Phantom Touch and things of that nature. So, and again, he did 5 mil compared to a real DPS that did, 9 mil.
My Husk did 8.5, but
You also didn't need accuracy on him. You only needed resistance.
yeah. Well, I mean, still trying to build him with like 250 crit damage is hard, because I didn't build mine slow. He's still at like 200 speed, 210.
My buddy Sim has a 270 crit damage, Shamael, with 4.5k attack, 450 resistance in lifesteal.
And what speed?
He's like 180 speed.
It's got to be some insane gear.
It's not. 4 of the pieces are 6-star rares.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Insane rolls. Jay, what about you? What do you think? Is it more gear based, more champion based?
I would say 80% of the game is gear. But when Hydra came out, right? And then maybe it could be a little bit different now that they've kind of nerfed it, but you can kind of see how we keep choosing similar champions, right? So it's not like we're choosing similar gear, we're choosing the similar champs. So and I've broken it down, right? We know how to counter each head and what's really good, the stats you need. So I've seen over and over again that there's top 5, champs for against to counter this head or that head, and it's like if you have the champs, it makes your life easier. Can you use gear? Of course, the whole game's a gear game, but I really do feel champs actually shine here. It just makes it so much easier. It's like you don't even have to worry. Like you can go from being non-full auto to full auto because of champs. So like if you have the gear, you can just manual. But honestly, I think the champs are number one here in my opinion, and I think that's why people are having trouble because not everybody has all the champs like we do. So
Yeah. I mean, Sam, how long have you been playing for?
3.5 years, long time.
Okay, so
I think maybe almost 4. I think it was 2019. Cantra, and between the Cantra and the Krila fusions when I started.
Okay,
it's a while ago.
So everybody here has been playing for a minimum of 2.5 years plus. So the accounts definitely have some time in them. So yeah, the rosters are way different than anybody else's, but
even just missing Ugo for teams is such a detrimental champion to not have for Hydra. Building a team without Ugo is toxic, and that's an affinity epic.
I don't
Let
use
alone
Ugo.
having multiple. Yeah, because you have other options now, sure. But building most people's Hydra teams without Ugo is beyond toxic. Like if you can use Ukko on one team, you can use Pinthroy if you have him. The other block options we have are Supreme Galek.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that. Are you going to be putting out a video on the Galek and Michinaki?
Oh yeah, that team's going to be insane. This is going to be bonkers. 4 DPS team. I've never seen a 4 DPS team.
Wow. I'm sure, Sam, you as well will be putting out your video on your Hydra team that you did. So guys,
basically just spotlighting Visix.
What is it?
I said basically just going to be spotlighting Visix.
Visix spotlight. Okay. All right. She needs. I mean, she does need that. Visix does need that. She's been a very upset champion, not being used. But yeah. So, do you guys? How many of you guys hit Nightmare? Sam, do you hit Nightmare?
Not regularly. I have once or twice, but I'm looking to start doing that more regularly.
Okay. You don't have any Acrisias that'll just one key it for you?
No. Mishinaki's probably my first cheat code. I do have the Krisk, so maybe I'll work with Tool to help me get in there.
We'll get you there, Sam.
Yeah. I mean, I think trying to get the one key Nightmare is not the one key, the full auto at this stage is where I've kind of been at. And I never really thought about using my Cardiel. So my Cardiel, as you all know, I have set for my clan boss. I refuse to use him for anything else just because I like seeing a big key number, and that's what I've been using him for. This was part of like my first time using him in Nightmare, and I just I made the mistake of just setting it, walking away, and I think I was in like the middle of making dinner or something, and I come back and it's done like 54 million. The first one it did was 58 million. I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is a full auto. Like I was like, I need to make a video about this. So I went back, I kind of, tweaked a little bit on him and then did the video on it. And I was really surprised, like how just between him, Chris, and Michinaki, I think I could have brought in any other damage dealers. I mean, I'm not even using a Duchess, and I do have 2 of them on my account. But I could have probably brought in any other 3 damage dealers and just full autoed in like 5 or 8 minutes. But what are you planning on like using for your Nightmare team?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm going to be using Dutch, Chris, Galek, Michinaki, Salad, and haven't quite figured out the last slot. Somebody that does bigger number might do either Sisia or Ninja.
Okay. You mean you're not using Ninja for Sand Devils?
I can change the build to do a video, but I might use my Sisia. She does a lot of burns, more explosions, another defense down, which is actually like when you want to do full auto big number keys, you need multiple defense downs. If you only run one, you're not going to have defense down on the decapitated heads, and you capitalize 0 when you pop ahead. My salad can literally hit like 5 to 700k on an A1 on a
Wow.
decapitated head. So when you mix that with the hex that's splashing, 50 to 80k per head, that I hit, and he also hits all 4 heads. So now he's splashing 200k from that, and he's doing 2 million if all 4 heads are down. Like just an A1, he's doing just on an A1, he's doing more than a Royal Guard A2 by more than double.
Wow.
So
I do not have a Michelle. I am jealous now that I know that. But
I have a +4, so it's a little different. But yeah.
Well, you could have just had a +2 and you could have shared, the other ones with us. Florium, if you're watching, let us trade champions. Charge us $25 and let us trade champions.
Please no, please no.
Soul transfer?
Good lord.
Ooh.
You thought Arena was toxic. Now wait until bots can sell champions for $25.
Oh man. Anus, welcome to the stream, man. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, no, Big Bad's right. For endgame Arena right now, you need that Hydra, Nightmare, Brutal, and Hard every week. I'm not gonna lie though, I've been kind of slacking on my end. I think I've probably been hitting my Nightmare keys, and that's about it. I think this is like the first week in like 3 weeks that I've done it, and I don't know about you guys, but do you find enough time throughout the week to try to put in all keys? Jay, we'll start with you.
Well, I did a video top 10 fails because I had to do it for my Plarium thing. But yeah, one of them was that I've missed almost 3 months of HYDRA since it's launched.
Bro,
that's
do
a lot
you
of
even have
weeks.
Mithrala yet?
A lot of keys.
That's at least 12 weeks.
Do you have Mithrala yet?
He's only missed 12
Yeah, of course.
over
okay.
a year and a half.
Yeah, I said 3 months. I didn't. I mean, it's only.
We've had
That's
20
only 12
months.
weeks.
Had 20 months of Hydra here.
Yeah. I know it sounds a lot, but it's like you miss like 1 week, one random week here out of the month, and another week. So overall, yeah, it's like 3 months. But I've definitely got to get back into it, and I shouldn't have not missed that many keys. It's free stuff, but now that there's soul stones, right, I have more reason to do it. Like I really want to actually push to Nightmare now because I really want the soul stones. I want to be able to get blessings and stuff like that. So that's why I'm more So I'm doing Brutal, but I just need to push towards Nightmare now.
That Acrizia, 133 million damage.
That's the hex, baby.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
That is insane. And
she's busted, man.
Yeah, she's just
that's
so
Warlock. Insane. Wow.
And this is what I mean by champions. If you have Acrizia, Hydra's a joke. It doesn't matter what your gear is.
That is true. What about you, Sam? Do you find that you have enough time throughout the week to hit all 3 keys in?
Some weeks. I mean, it just depends. I will say, realizing the importance, because this time it was probably 5, 6. Not all of them were full runs, but I attempted a lot of runs this week, and they're all manual, and that really made me start thinking about the time tax of doing this, and so that makes me realize the importance of in the future, I need to get some auto teams. That's definitely the next thing that I'm going to be working on is full auto teams because that just makes it way easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Julie, what about you? Do you find enough time throughout the week to put all your keys in?
So I run 6 keys a week, and I've ran up to 18 keys a week on accounts. It's time consuming. It's a ton of work. I'm glad that I get paid to do some of those keys, and that's why I have time to do some of those keys. You pay me $20 to spend an hour doing your keys. You know what I mean? It's not a waste of my time now, kind of thing. Like I've scheduled that hour for you. Let's spend the time. It's not that bad. My personal keys, I can one key Nightmare Hydra in 7 minutes. It's not a problem for me to auto any of my keys. They one and done basically every single time. And if I watch it, it's even easier, kind of thing. If I just watch it auto, it'll definitely do it in 7 to 9 minutes on Nightmare. My alt account, it does Nightmare also. I manual that one because it uses a geo and stuff, and I just can't be asked doing it more than once. And I manual one key in 15 minutes every week, every rotation, the first time basically. So one of the big things is definitely just like learning when your run's done. Um, when you can't recover a run, and don't spend the next 10 minutes of your life, 15 minutes of your life, just like start over kind of thing. You're probably only 5 or 8 minutes into the run anyways, most of the time. So a lot of times I think people waste time on runs that they shouldn't when they're manualing. Um, but it's really just comes down to learning the fight. Once you understand the fight, you can build better team compositions to handle the fight for one. Then you know what kind of speed ranges work and things like that. It's a ton of time. Absolutely. Nothing short. For most people. For me though, it's not too bad. Uh Other people just have way harder time with it though.
Yeah, no, I'll admit that. You did bring up an interesting thing about knowing when your team is done and when to reset. Let's kind of elaborate a bit on that because I do see. I mean, and I've seen it myself. I do it myself, honestly, where I'm like 10, 12 minutes into the key, and I'm like, okay, I'm still going at it, but it's like one of my champions just got devoured. I'm like, do I keep going? I'm like 20 million damage in. I only need 10 more to get my brutal key. Um, I'll throw it to Sam first. Sam, how long into the key do you wait to see if you're gonna restart or if you're gonna stick around with it?
Uh, I don't know. I don't know if I have a concrete answer. To me, it just depends. Like when something big goes wrong, like champion gets eaten and I don't get him back, or I'm doing really well and then my provoke gets resisted and then they have to do a full cleanse. Something big, something major goes wrong, then I restart. But typically, I just kind of chug along and hope I can get there. Again, not the smartest use of my time.
Okay. So do you find yourself like a lot of the times if I don't get like a perfect start in my team, like if I for some reason miss the provoke, I automatically restart it. Do you find yourself doing that or you just let it go?
For sure, I definitely restart real early if it's within the first 2 or 3 minutes. Like say I'm running a Cantra team, and she gets the 5 debuffs on, and then doesn't place a provoke. Yeah, it's just an instant restart. Kind of a bad way to start, and I don't mind spending 30 seconds that way. It's when it gets later in the run, 5, 10, 15 minutes, and I start being like, well, maybe it'll work out.
Yeah. Jay, what about you? How long do you wait before you restart the run?
The first 2 seconds. Starting up is the most important thing. If I don't get the right start up, I've one time on stream I started 8 times before I was like, okay, we got everybody to not get resisted, get their debuffs to land, no weak hits. I'll do that. And then once you get the flow, you're like, all right, now I just gotta keep consistent, right? Sometimes you'll get different heads, which is annoying. Like it'll just change a whole rotation on you. You're like, this is not even close to what it was. That can kind of kick you. But you just try to do your best. Honestly, what actually hurts me the most, I think, is like Wrath the most. Like, so sometimes you'll block him. Sometimes like someone's passive or something triggers that extra. Or you're like, oh, I have an extra hit, cool. And then you're like, oh no, this happened. You're like, dang, or I didn't have this buff up. You're like, gotta revive, or you gotta like, oh man, this like things like that. Other than that, like not too much. Even if I get a bad rotation or people get eaten, I'm like, all right, cool. It's gonna take me longer to get the one key, not as fast, but I'm gonna get it eventually. It's very rare that I don't like to stop halfway or like 80% of the way because then I've just wasted my time, and time is valuable for me. So if I'm before I go in, I want to make sure everything is good. starts off nice, and then just I already plan ahead what champions, possibilities of what's going to happen, affinities and things like that before I even start the key. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do every single key.
Not sure what happened there. I think my what? Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. Some.
You lost us all.
There we go. Okay. I'm like, I don't know what the issue was there. Okay. Thule, what about you, man? How long do you wait before you restart the run? Or are you just like, I never restart it? I got +4, so I'm good.
I always restart runs, to be honest. Like my account, sure, I may not restart runs many times anymore because I've restarted a lot of runs before and I've worked my teams a lot now. But I restart runs all the time. When I'm running other keys for people. One of the easiest measurements for your run is how much damage are you doing per 10 turns? Okay, it's by far the easiest way to measure how good your team is. A nightmare team that's gonna one key at a reasonable pace is gonna do at least 3 mil per 10 turns. So if you can break parity with that, you're on your way to auto key. If you can get around that 4 mil mark, you're almost a guaranteed auto team. Almost a guaranteed. If you can show me a team that does that and doesn't auto, I'll be surprised.
Okay.
So that's one of the things. So if I'm at turn 30 and I've only got 6.5 mil, that run's garbage. Like we are way behind pace at the very beginning of the run. And so it's easier to do damage in the beginning of the run than it is the end of the run. Okay. When your first champion gets consumed, your run is about 90% over. Your team works as a unit of 6. How many teams could you build a Hydra team with 5 people? I'll wait. I'll let you try because you can. Because people thought 6 wasn't enough when it first came out. You're like, we don't have enough slots to deal with all these things. So if you lose your my nightmare team could run with 5 people now because of what we know and because of the certain champions we have. But doing 36 mil at 120 turns, good luck. At the same time, like I might be able to do it in 160 or 180, but that's way too long of a run for a nightmare. You have too much RNG on the end of the run, kind of thing. So there's certain heads like Suffering and Mischief mainly. Suffering takes a double turn right at the end of the run, and Mischief can steal turn meter. So when you have two marks of consumption on them, they can just end your run on the spot. They're just going to eat somebody right now. Well, if that champion's your Reviver, your Mischief tank, one of your 2 DPS champions, your run's over. You're not like, what happens when your second DPS gets eaten? How are you going to break them out?
Yeah.
Like your time is counted now. Like you are done. You are 90 to 95% done with your run already once your first champion is gone.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure your first 50 turns are really solid. Most of my teams are finishing one key. I'm one king nightmare by turn 80 now.
Yes. So I think a good sentiment for myself is if I'm not, if I set it and forget it and walk away, if it's not a 1 key within the first, if I can't half a 1 key, I should say, within the first like 5 minutes, it's an automatic start for me. Just because I don't want to wait too long to find out that it's going to fail like at the very last second, because one champion gets consumed and it's done. It's a fail for me.
So a 10-minute 1 key would make you 8th in the world.
I think
for fastest nightmare 1 keys, by the way, at 10 minutes.
I think you could check my run that I did, but I'm pretty sure I had 1 keyed by like minute 9.
Well,
full
I
auto.
have rolled at 7, and Basehead Rob has 3 Acresias at 518.
Yeah, that's.
Do it in under 10 minutes is very difficult when you're talking about nightmare.
I'm 90. I'm gonna go back and take a look at my video that I posted, but I'm like 99% sure by like minute 10 I had.
Your run there is 50 mil and your run is 18 minutes long or 20 minutes long.
Wait, where is it? Yeah, 54 million.
In 20 minutes, yeah. So if you cut that in half.
So I'm like 12 minutes.
Far from
13.
That's far from a 1 key in 10 minutes. You're like at 25 mil, 28 mil.
Yeah. Well, I know what I gotta improve on now. um, so back onto the Hydra challenge. Was there anything you guys would have changed on it? Make it maybe a little more interesting. I'll throw this one to Thule first.
No, I think to change anything. Actually, I think the rules were great. I think it allowed for enough creativity in everybody's teams. Like to actually use what they have in their roster. No Duchess is a pretty trivial requirement. No Void Legos, that's another pretty easy one for most of us. You know what I mean? And so it mainly just like made us move away from Krisk, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of us, when the name big Void Legos that
I
most people
mean,
are
you
gonna be using.
could see it here.
Right?
Just
See a
about
common theme
everybody.
here.
Just about
So,
everybody here's got a Krisk.
nobody likes seeing Krisk in a Hydra team video. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say that right now. You put a video out there that says Krisk, and you're automatically just gonna get 100 comments that say, "But no Krisk, what do?"
Yeah.
So I think it was great. I really wouldn't have changed anything.
Sam, what about you?
Yeah, same thoughts here. Definitely a lot of popular champions you're taking out. I thought it was good. I loved the not just taking people away, but also forcing us to use more accessible champions. I thought that was super cool. I wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah, Seth says Panda has 3 Acrisias, but Panda's account is, I don't know if I can reach high enough, and our accounts are all like, woo, right here. I don't know. I'm sure anybody who knows, Panda is free to play. Yes.
100% free to play.
100% free to play as of 10 seconds ago.
Yep, it's just since when? That's all we ever care about.
He was free to play for the first 30 seconds of the game, guys. Him, Bobby, and what's his name from Mad, the clan leader. They were all Infinite. Yes, they were all free to play for about the first 30 seconds of the game, and then they said they just called American Express. They just called American Express. Said, "Yeah, you know what? Every charge that's going to come through this on this game is valid."
End it. Full send.
Just charge it on the black card. That's it. So next content creator games, I'm kind of liking the whole Hydra vibe thing, and I'm thinking, unfortunately, a lot of the content creators, some of their clans don't have Nightmare Hydra opened up, and I would like to push us all to that stage. What do you guys think? Do you think a Nightmare Hydra with kind of the same, no Krisk, no Duchess type of things would work for you?
Sure, for me it would work. I think we should do something more creative. One of the things that I presented a while ago is that, like, look at how many people didn't want to participate this, and this was just brutal. And then we had 2 people that couldn't participate anyways. We only had 4 finishes out of the 10 of us or whatever. You know what I mean? We already have pretty low participation.
I think there was like 20 content creators and all that are part of this group. And
yes, so I don't think limiting us to I understand that making Nightmare Hydra content is cool and stuff like that, and I sure we could do it, but I don't think we're gonna get as much participation in it as we would want.
Right.
All.
What about you, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, like I said, Nightmare Hydra is not something I've done a ton. So even for me, pushing it is difficult. So pushing it with restrictions might be a little too tough for me, at least in the near future. So we're talking next month. I don't think I mean, I could hypothetically participate, but I don't think I 1-key. So, I mean, I'm definitely open to suggestions, but I don't know if that's going to be a possibility for me, at least not like it was this month.
I just know that if we take any restrictions off, Educated Potato is going to go in with Astaris, Marichka, and just throw up like 300 million. He'll get his Acrisias in there and just blow us all out of the water, So we gotta knock him down a peg to kind of bring him to our level, right?
How about you just let me use Chris, nobody else, and then I'm down.
Okay.
Yep.
Jay, what about you?
I think we should focus on Arena. I mean, it's the year of PvP.
Okay.
And you guys already done Hydra, so now I'll focus on things that people are watching right now, right? People are watching, want to know new champions, showing new champions what are good in Hydra, right? Like Visix and Iron Brago. Now let's show people what could be used in either tag team where people need help still to get the gold, and people need to progress in live arena. So maybe showing off unique champions there. Maybe like make a team that only has one Lego or two. Some, there could be some restrictions, or I think would be very interesting using a rare in a live arena team. So, I mean, that's up to you.
I call
but
Eviscerator. I call Eviscerator. I like that. I call Eviscerator.
Again, Doom Switch.
Have you guys have you guys seen the video that HWZ did with YST about Eviscerator?
Yeah, I did.
Oh
Funny.
man,
They're awesome.
I was like, I did not believe that, and like I was like, okay, cool, and then okay, so I think I'm liking the live arena thing. It's gonna be a little difficult to try to get try to put a competition behind that. Maybe who can rack up the most wins without using like 5 specific champions over like a 2-week course. I think that might not be a bad idea. We'll have to talk a little more about you can't do live potato. I think we'll have to.
I think we should definitely be doing arena next. I'm with Jay on this one. Like, we need to do some kind of arena challenge, whether it be classic, live, 3v3, something. I think that's a great idea.
Okay. We'll definitely have to spark that up. I'm agreeing. I think you're right. You're right. Definitely agree with the arena. So we'll have to spark up. We'll have to talk with the rest of the guys to try to figure out. And by the way, any content creators out there that do want to join us, feel free to, hit up any one of us in Discord. You're all welcome to join us. We're not locked in to, you have to be a part of this niche club or whatever. It's open to any content creator to come in and join these games. And even if you just want some help, I mean, we've got content creators here that have been, doing this for a while. We've got, Jay, who's a official raid content creator. And he can help us out with trying to get into the scenes and stuff. Thule, is great at doing HYDRA. Sam, he's been doing a lot. I think you've been doing a lot of Clan Boss lately, right, Sam?
I do takeovers for Clan Boss, and I just do lots of different videos about Clan Boss. That's definitely my niche.
Okay. I know Educated Potato does just about everything. I think he's more arena focused, and same thing with me. I kind of do just about everything, but my focus lately has been shifted towards arena. But I think Clan Boss is probably my specialty. I don't have any fans at all, Seth. None, no people. So live arena, it's actually, we'll change it up a little bit. We've got about a half an hour left on the show, but we're going to talk a little bit about live arena. So I'm currently now in silver. I think it's silver 2. Whoops, wrong one. Yeah, so I'm currently in silver 2. I'm on the low end. I know last week when we checked in, Bobby was in top on the leaderboards, and his points haven't moved up much. I think he's moved up maybe 200 or 300 points. I figured by this time we would see more players in, maybe gold 1 or something, which is a little, concerning for me that we're not having the.
It's not mathematically possible, is why. It's only been 17 days since live arena released. You can't have anybody in gold yet.
Yeah, but.
But what? Like, if you can't win that many fights, how can you expect people to be higher than they are?
I mean, he's done 444 battles with 83% wins. You've got Engine here, who's got 81% wins. There should definitely be some progression in to those tiers.
We started at 900, and you need 2,700 to get into gold. So you need to net 1,800 points divided by 5. That's 360 wins.
360 wins, and he's done.
And that's if you don't lose a single fight. If you lose any fights, then you lose 4 points, and you have to win more.
But if he's done 300 with what you were just saying, if he's done 360 wins, he's done 444. So he's like 84 over the battles. He should be.
No, he's not. No, he's not. That you just ignored the entire second part of what I said. If you lose one single fight, you have to do 361 fights. If you lose 2 fights, you have to do 362 fights. And every 4 fights you lose, you have to win one to make up for that.
Yeah.
Every 5 fights you lose, you lose 5 points. Or you lose 20 points. And then for every 4 wins, you get 20 points.
I just feel like we should be a lot higher than what we currently are.
It's mathematically not possible.
I mean, we've got bots and
you would have to have a 98% win rate across 500 battles. You know what I mean? Across 380 battles, you'd have to have a 98% win rate.
No way.
It's not going to happen. It's mathematically not possible to happen.
You'd have to +4 everything.
Right. So he's only 224 points out.
Yeah, it's still though. I mean, yeah, okay. It's been 17 days. Has it only been 17 days?
Only been 17 days.
I just feel by this point like we should because I'm still fighting.
3 to 5 weeks was the minimum for people to start getting into the gold tiers.
So we've got roughly,
and we're 4 weeks away from the 3-week mark.
So then maybe next week. But what's going to happen now when he hits gold 1? If he's,
what do you mean?
Well, who is he going to be facing?
Right now, he's doing 30-minute queues with nobody to fight because he's 200 points. He's 180 points ahead of everybody. Bobby can't find anybody right now. He's not even getting bots.
That is a problem. There's
too big of a gap between him and second right now. Like
shit.
They're literally not in the same tier. I don't
It's
think.
the Diablo thing happening again.
Yeah, exactly. It's
No, they're in the same. They're both in silver 4, but yeah, they're too far apart. So it's like, does Engine and Bobby match 7 times in a row, or do they just not give them a match? It's basically where you're at. Like in Classic, you can only fight somebody 10 times in a single day in 24-hour period. Win, lose, or draw.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's where they're at. Like there are only so many people. Like let's see where the 2,200 points. Like there are 6 people in silver 4 right now. How many times do you want them to fight each other? And the chances of them all being in queue at the same time is even smaller. So
I mean, how do you resolve that issue then?
You need to wait for more people to get into silver 4. The gold 4 doesn't cap. Okay, once you get into gold 4, you just keep moving up in rank. There will always be other people in gold 4 once we get everything filled up. But until that point, we have limited numbers in each of the tiers. Like there are people purposefully. I'm at 1,200 rank right now. I'm not going to push up. No way. No chance. I'll wait 2 weeks before I do live arena again. I'll do 5 fights to hold my rank, if that. Like I'll literally just sit here. I don't have an account to fight those guys. There's no point. I'll have a 30% win rate. It's not worth my time. Yeah, I'd rather fight accounts.
Does the win rate really matter at this point in time?
Yes, it does.
Why?
It absolutely matters because that's how much you get the Great Hall. You have to win.
Well, yes, you have to win, but does it matter if your win rate's like 50 or 100?
I'm not wasting my time for losses. I want near a 50% win rate in live arena. If I'm going to be going against accounts that I have a 20% chance of winning against every single fight, that's not good. That's a waste of my time.
Right.
Like in a balanced game mode, we should be near a 50-50 win rate in live arena. And if you have a 60% win rate, you're insane. And that's a balanced live PvP system in most games.
Yeah, it's just like League. Like if you have like a over 50% win rate on a champion, people are like, "Oh wow, really? You have 60 or 55? That you must be doing good."
Exactly. And so until we get everybody up, like how many, like, do you want Bobby to get matched to people against in Silver 3? You know, that was something that you were complaining about in low silver, right? That you would get somebody matched in bronze. Well,
Yeah.
who wants to fight Bobby? Nobody. That's why he's got 30-minute queues.
Yeah, but
And
Bobby,
that's
at the same time, though, he should be able to play the game and enjoy it. He shouldn't be, just like Jay was just saying, like it gets you to that point where you're that player that was in,
fuck Bobby. He spent too much money. Who cares?
you're just like
Like
that.
y'all complain that the average player base doesn't have this, doesn't have that. Wales always got this. Wales always got that. Fuck the Wales. Who cares? Why do you care if the top 100 can't fight each other? You're not in the top 100.
But the problem is,
be in
the
top
problem is,
100.
I can't go up there. I can't move into gold or silver 4 because the top 100 is stuck there.
No, you can't move up there because you can't fight those accounts. That's why you can't move.
I can fight those accounts. Doesn't mean I'm gonna win those accounts.
That's the point. Like if you can't fight them and win, you can't hold that rank. That's the point of live.
Yeah.
So why do you care if other people way above you can't fight each other?
Again, it just like I want to be able to go in and get my Quintus and move on, but
you could, but you can't move up that high yourself. So why does it matter?
Well,
go ahead. I'll wait. I'll go ahead. Try and push the silver 4.
No, I can't.
That's the point. Like you can find matches in 30 seconds every single time you queue in, can't you?
Roughly.
You've had 0 matchmaking issues. You've every single time you click that find opponent, you find somebody. You don't have 30-minute queues. I don't have 30-minute queues. I've barely waited 10 seconds.
Yeah,
I don't care if Bobby's waiting 30 minutes. While he wants to be a Kraken and sit way ahead of everybody else when nobody else is there yet. That's his problem. That's not my problem. That's his problem. You know what I mean? Like just because you want to push. He's literally 180 points ahead of second place. Like that's a lot right now for 17 days into this. That's his problem. I'm okay with it. I'm perfectly fine with it. And all the people in Silver 3, they find matches in 30 seconds against accounts like them. My clanmate Chu, he's got a top 50 account in the game. He finds a match in 30 seconds every single time.
Sam, what about you? How have you been doing in live arena? Like, do you find yourself this being an issue, or have you not been touching it?
Oh, I still play it every day. I do basically 10, 15 fights a day, right? It just depends. And once I hit silver, it definitely got a little more difficult. You start losing those points on losses. So yeah, I'm kind of the mindset of I'm not really going to push it too much because I don't think the results are a necessity for my channel right now or my account right now. So I've got other stuff I can focus on. I do think it's cool. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for people to keep moving up so that I can play against people that are similar and not playing against toxic people with unbelievable stacked accounts. I mean, I have a good account, but some of the accounts I've ran into it's bonkers. So I'm kind of just waiting, biding my time for it to get a little better.
Yeah, I honestly haven't. I've been doing 10 battles a day, doing my 2 refills. Win or lose, I mean, I've had pretty good, success rate. I don't really care whether I win or lose. Granted, my haul is going to get filled over time. It's not my priority at this point in time. Yes, do I want to have it filled up? But I mean, this is what I'm starting. My haul is starting with Dragon. Okay, that's where my priority is right there. You could see. I mean, most of you guys are. I'm sure Thule, you're probably farming Fire Knight right now, right?
Yeah, I actually got my team to like 99.9% because of the Great Hall.
So I don't really care about my win rate. I find it as a fun game mode. I've been going in. I've been enjoying it. I would like to just be able to progress a lot more. I don't want to just sit there and, kind of be hindered by all these bigger whales that, I I can fight, and some of the matches might be beatable. It just depends on a lot, like on what you have and what you build. But I just feel like I think the whole bots thing is what comes into play, and I don't know. I mean, I saw a Reddit post on last week, and I kind of went back and I proved on one of my earlier videos that the bots are actually an arena. When you take 3 losses, you'll find one. Your fourth fight is going to be a bot every single time. And
I put in a Septimus and 4+4 champions, and they banned the Septimus because he was in the first spot. Like you're not fooling anybody, Plarium. At least like make them ban the highest power champion or like something, you know what I mean? If you want to like fake player interaction. But the attempt at bots that they've done is just really poor.
well, so
Honestly.
for me, it was banning what was it? It was banning my Duchess every single time, no matter what spot I moved her to. It would always ban my Duchess.
Interesting.
So, and then it would, for the ones that I did on the video, it would ban my second spot champion, not my first spot, because when I noticed, when I was reading over the article, he was putting it as his first champion, and I think he picked like a rare. He picked what's her name? The poison girl, Frozen Banshee. Yeah, and he put her in, and it would ban her. And I'm like, interesting. So my first one I put in, I think, was like a Cold Heart, but I'm like, maybe I didn't pick her because she doesn't have a lead. So I was like, okay, maybe that's why. But then it would consistently ban my Duchess. So, but have you, Sam, have you been seeing any bots in Arena?
I've noticed the same thing. 3 losses, and then they give you a bot. And yeah, they've always banned my lead. I haven't messed around with like testing rare champions or other champions to see who they'll ban, but typically I put somebody in lead that I'm happy with them getting thrown away. Yeah, they ban them every time. I like it. I mean, I don't know if that's really what we're discussing, but I think it's great. I think that a lot of people are struggling with this content. My brother-in-law just got to 50 and unlocked it. After an hour, he's like, "Dude, this sucks. I don't want to play this anymore." And that stinks. That stinks for someone who's been playing the game for a month to be like, "I don't want to play this game mode." So I think
Yeah.
it's cool. Any type of improvement, whether you like it at the high end or not, I think it's at least very good on the low end. So I'm all for it.
Yeah. Jay, what about you?
I think it's a must needed thing that we should have had earlier, but because of the whole war, we got behind on it. But maybe it's better in the long run because maybe they would have messed up on it. Like we talked last time, they did a pretty good on release because they usually when they release new content, there's always lots of messed up things with it, or people are just like angry at them and like community goes crazy. Overall, I think it's pretty good in terms of the bots. Yeah, it can be a little bit of a problem, but I've seen like 1 or 2. I don't see that many bots on personally on when I'm doing it. But I've seen on other people showing off picks and stuff like that. I think it does suck that I guess people are not progressing super fast. But why do we need to rush it anyways? You know what I mean? Like we want our area bonuses to all be filled, but come on, it's like the Great Hall. Took me almost 2 years and a half to get that done. So why does everyone want to be in gold right now? I guess to get more medals for their area bonus, but it's like this game's it's not about rushing, right? If you rush, look what ends up happens to like whales and krakens. You pretty much get alone. It's about playing with everybody and progressing and seeing like the different builds. I think the area bonus is going to allow different unique things because you'll have different stats you couldn't be able to do. So let's see what happens with that. But rushing is just kind of like, man, what if we were all there, And then what do you do now? It's kind of like when you get to like super end game, right? And you're like already like plat, like top 100 all the time. It's like, yeah, you can try out new champs or here and there, but it's like, do you play the game as much as you did before? And I think that's the point. Is like you want it to have longevity. You want us to enjoy. You don't want us to just do a content for 3 months and then it becomes stale and then you have to add some limitations. So I like it so far, and I hope that maybe they do special things with it. Maybe like kind of like there's a classic arena thing. Maybe in the future they could do something special. I would like something, like I said this before, where it's like, oh, live arena this week, only epics. Like that would open up different, because free to play could come now in, and now people who are Krakens could try out different things. I think that'd be unique, and then you can give people rewards for doing stuff like that, kind of like what they did with Dungeons, right?
Mhm.
Use only specific faction or use only this type of rarity, like that. I mean, some people don't like it, but I think it's just something to still change it up and add, diversity. So I guess
I
let's see
don't
where it
I don't
goes.
know if
Like,
that's gonna work in arena though, to be honest.
They
But
had they had a thing in the beta that had restrictions. It was on the side. They already had it in there. The battle rules and stuff like that. Like there was a whole like grayed out section for it.
Mm.
So they thought about it, but I don't know if we'll see it. That's the
yeah,
thing. Like if
well,
they only do a week long epic tournament, you got to build a champion for that week, kind of thing. If you don't have a show.
every week long epic tournament, everybody will just build a
I
gala or a
personally would like
Finax.
to see a monthly seasonal for live arena.
I
think that would be-
I agree with you on that, Tuli. I think a monthly like seasonal would be great based on how many wins you got or like what your win percentage is. I personally think that should be what Plat Arena is at the end of the week, but it shouldn't be the last 15 minutes. But that's a whole nother battle that we have.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. So we're getting to that time. It has been almost 2 hours. It has been a very lovely time, both with the community and with you gentlemen. But before we go, as always, we have shoutouts. So, first, and because he's our first time on the show, Sam, we're going to put you on the spot. Do you have a shout out for somebody?
Don't. I was not prepared for that.
All right, we'll give you a minute. Think about it. Jay, shout out. I know you're
I want to give
prepared.
it out to. Well, I'm not always prepared, but this time, you gave me a few seconds there, so I actually thought, I was like, huh, there's one person. That's actually known in the community, right? But I wanted to give a shout out because I didn't expect this content to come out from this specific content creator. But it was nice to see, and I was like, man, this is stuff that I want to see more in the community because it's just unique. So Educated Potato did a video on Outrider showing his multipliers and actually using them in Plat Arena, seeing if you gave him like the gear that you would normally have like on like your normal nuker, if you could actually do some damage. And it, with his multipliers and Savage gear, he was still killing Duchesses and Mighty Eagles and everything else. I was like, there you go, So I liked the video, and I think it was really good content. It just shows that even like free to play players, and just other champions can have. Now, is it viable? Probably not, but I'm just saying like it's just nice to see.
It's fun to have.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you have. It's how you want to use something, like your resources, and how you want to build that. It's yourself, right? It's the creator. That's why I like that type of content, right? It's just different. So
Okay.
shout out to Educated Potato for that.
Tuli, what about you?
I'm actually just gonna shout out a lot of the non-English communities. There's a lot of good content that comes out from them. Namely, one of the Fire Knight teams that I recently built with To and stuff. And I think a lot of them don't get credit in the other communities as well. So definitely gonna shout them out. Like there's a ton of really good Russian creators, French creators. This one was a Japanese creator. The Koreans are always on top of it. Stuff like that. And it's just something that we don't see a lot. So definitely shout out them.
Okay. Sam, do you have somebody now?
Yeah. I mean, I guess think off the top of my head, I just did a collab about a week ago with HWZ. I love his content, man. He's one of my favorite YouTubers right now. He did the Viscerator video. That's how I first discovered him with YST. But he also did the Do You Play Raid with all the big. He's doing it with a lot of the big content creators.
Mhm.
That is one of my favorite, most original ideas I've seen on YouTube. I thought that was just so cool. So yeah, shout out to my boy H Dub.
Okay. So my shout out's actually gonna, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I have shirts now. And these shirts were actually made by one of my customers, XO Creations. So my shout out's going to go to her. Thank you for the shirts. I love them. They're great. And when she gets her website up and going, I'll put it in the link below. And I mean, she great quality products. I'm not paid to do this, by the way. It's just a shout out. This is not sponsored. So just so we make sure. But yeah, she does great stuff, reasonable pricing, and you know, small taking care of the small business. So but as always, guys, much appreciation, much love. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you for joining me this week. I can't wait till we have another 2 hours next week and have a nice little chat again. And as always, much love, much appreciation. Be well, be safe, be good to each other, and we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.